Well, I'm with Ian Watson today, who's just done the direction of a film that's coming out very shortly called Unsound. And this is a beautifully filmed film that Ian, I'm just going to actually direct this to you to talk about it because as a director, I believe you came into this film a little bit later in view of the project. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how, you went about, directing the film?
Okay. The film had been in development for about 3 or 4 years between the producer, Suzanne Chambers, and the writer, Ali Burnham. And Suzanne was a colleague of mine when we were doing film school together. We were both doing the postgrad producing at Afters. And Suzanne had been talking about this film through the year, and about 2 or 3 months out of her production and the beginning of pre-production, she lost her director. And Suzanne knew I had a background in theatre and I had a background in television direction. And she asked me to read the script. And I did, and I thought it was beautiful. The script takes some very complex issues of gender and community and diversity that can be politically charged ideas and puts them into a really beautiful and simple love story.
Yes.
So for me, I chose to concentrate on that love story and that the human story within the drama rather than trying to politicize the issues. A big step for me was I don't identify with any. I'm not transgender and I'm not deaf, but I had a neutrality to it, which meant, as years of being a film and television and theatre director,
Yes.
I could bring my expertise to do this and use a culture of collaboration to create this film. And I knew that it was in my ability to deliver the honesty and the truth of the film.
Oh, that is beautiful, actually, because there are so many delicate parts in it, and I've got to
Yes.
say the cinematography and throughout is capturing, quite, the essence of the film. And did you work very closely with the cinematographer
Yeah,
in
the
view?
cinematographer was Kent Marcus, and we spoke at length about how we were going to film this and how we were going to have, essentially, it's two characters that meet, so each have a point of view. If Finn were to go into a room with we're over shoulder, Finn going in, and if Noah's going in, we do the same thing. So we had a series of thumbnails that we used as we were preparing and then going into shooting that we'd be able to fall back on to give the film its necessary level of craft and work.
Well, how long was the shoot, and how many locations did you have?
The shoot was for a month. It was a 20-day shoot. Now it's over 2 years ago, so we shot it in 20 days. And we chose to set it in Manly. Yeah, because I wanted to choose a community and I wanted to shoot it in a known community, and Manly's so visually interesting and hadn't been shot out in Sydney for a while. So we did it in 20 days, 4 weeks.
Did you sleep?
It wasn't that. A lot of it's set
Wow.
in the community centre. A lot of it's set
Yeah.
in several households. It's actually quite, in terms of its scale, it's not
Yeah.
a huge film. We did a lot of exteriors of Manly and the Sydney Harbour, but we
Yeah.
tried to keep it contained because, as I said, it's a film about community and it's about identity. So
Yeah.
our aim was to go to a community and shoot it so it had that feeling of coherence within that.
Well, I want to touch on Christina New being in the film.
Yeah.
How did that
Yeah.
all come about? And again, there's a beautiful song attached to this as well.
When I came in on the film, it had been cast, and she'd been cast in the film. And part of the journey is that Noah decides to write a song, with the help of Christine, her character, to write a song that can be presented at the dance club at the end. And that song sort of evolved and was pre-recorded before we shot. But that film was that the song itself is kind of the tribute to the film. It ends with this idea that we all have to shine on. And again,
Yeah.
that was Noah's journey being able to write that and offer it up to Finn. And it's beautifully delivered. It's actually a beautiful song, and I hear it
Yeah.
occasionally on the radio. I think it's
Yeah.
with ABC Music, and I hear it on the radio, and I go, "Oh, I remember that song. It's so joyous."
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. I only just heard it today, and I thought, wow, it's got resonance, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's and she's quite a well-known recording singer, so
Yeah.
that was a good score in view of her. Now you've won already awards with this as well.
Yes.
Best Australian Feature for the Melbourne Queer Festival, which was last year.
Yes.
Best Feature for the ATOM Awards, and the Queer Screen Competition for the Mardi Gras Festival in 19.
Yes. Yes, so it's had some good awards, and it's had awards overseas. It's been recognised overseas in various film festivals, both queer film festivals and other film festivals. So the film, I mean, 2 years ago I was editing the film, so that's how long it's taken because of
Yeah,
COVID to get it into the
COVID.
cinema.
Yes, yes,
And we're lucky that Australian films are being seen at the moment. Australian audiences are going
yes,
out to see films, and there's been success with films, and Unsound's joining that group of films, because the other big films won't be getting to Australia until middle of the year. So it's a perfect opportunity for
I
the film to screen.
I think this is fantastic for the Australian film market. I think we're
It
finally
is.
getting noticed. And it, whether it took COVID or what, I think it's a winner, because
Australians are going to the cinema, and
yes,
what's really on at the cinema at the moment are Australian films. So
yeah,
they're all doing so well.
they are, and I think this is an audience grabber as well, because there's, obviously it's targeted for the gay community, but there are other open
It's
audiences.
I love it reaches a broader community. I mean, the
Yeah,
purpose of the film is to speak beyond those communities that it represents, is to speak
yeah,
in a general way, because a lot of people haven't had experience of someone that's transgender, and they have
yes,
had no experience with the deaf community. And the fact that
yes,
this film can speak to those two communities in a broad sense gives it a
exactly.
greater scale and a better placement in the community.
Exactly. And of course you've got one of Australia's most talented, you know, performers, and one of my
You're
favourite
talking about
actually.
Todd McKenney.
Absolutely, the boy from Oz.
He's amazing, because what he does in the film, he both has to sign and speak at the same time. So he has to speak and sign, and that's incredibly difficult. It's
Yeah.
like, patting your tummy and rubbing your head. And he does it so effortlessly. And it's his training as a singer and a dancer. And he's actually
Yes.
originally a gymnast, I think. And he's also the patron for a deaf, one of the deaf organisations, and he's their patron. And so Todd brings to it a sense of passion for signing and for speaking Auslan, and he had to learn a bit more. But what he does is actually incredibly difficult.
Well, yeah, I obviously he must have gone into, really, you know, a very zone to really know what he
Yeah,
was doing there. But
yeah,
he
and
is a
part of
pro. He's just got that discipline of the theatre behind him.
yeah part of our process all the time was to have representatives from the transgender community and the deaf community on set as our consultants. As I said, we had to bring the resources of these communities together to be able to make the film.
Yeah.
And so we had Auslan speakers on set. So if I'm talking to the actors who are deaf, I had the
Wow.
Auslan translator. We had them in the edit. So we had them across what we were doing, and the transgender consultants. So
Right.
in many ways, it was a community effort. The film was a
Beautiful.
community effort by us to speak for and enable another community to have their voice. So for me, it's a community film about a community.
Beautiful. And I love community. It's got,
Well, that's
again,
that's the bottom line.
yeah, community. We need more of it. Tell us about the two young boy leads in this. How?
Good. That's Reece Noy he's born in England, but he works out of the USA, and Yana Pandelis are our two leads. Again, they were part of the casting that came with it. But again, when we started rehearsing, they had such a beautiful connection, their ability to listen to each other. And my favourite scene's the scene set at the beach at night where
Yes.
where Noah goes for a swim and Finn can't take Finn's clothes off to go for a swim. And we shot that on the last night of the last day of shooting after such an extensive time of being together and working together. And it just fitted so beautifully that my favourite scene in the film was actually filmed then. And I think their work's extraordinary. I think you really believe the love and the attention to them.
Yeah, it's funny because I was drawn to that scene and
Yeah.
again, beautifully filmed, and the cameras just, just really, oh
Yeah.
my God, they capture them. They
Oh,
just, yeah,
oh, good.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, good.
very gorgeous looking boys, both of them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yeah, no, look, this is wonderful. I'm sure, the fact that it's coming out to the cinemas
Yes.
very shortly,
Yes.
and as we were just saying, I think Australia is going to embrace this film. It's
They have been embracing it, and I hope they continue. It's opening at the Dendy in Sydney, uh, and Perth, and no, it's opening at the Dendy in Sydney, Brisbane, and Canberra on the 18th of March, and it's opening at the Back Lot in Perth on the 18th of March, and it's been running at the Nova in Sydney and the Wallace in Melbourne, sorry,
Melbourne.
and
That's
the
right. Yeah,
Wallace Cinema in Adelaide. So
yeah,
it's getting a small opening. A lot of it's through word
yeah.
of mouth. So please, I
Yes.
think we have to spread the word about this film because it's a
Yep.
small budget, but
Yep.
it's finding its audience and it's finding its place.
Are you able to unseal the budget of the film?
I can't recall the budget. What it was? It was minimal.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good. Then you might make
that's what we call it's what we call low budget.
low budget.
But yeah, but it was enough. We
Yeah,
spent the money we had.
it's great. Well, Ian, I'm delighted that we've spoken today, and I wish you
Thank you.
all the success and congratulations on such a beautiful film, and one that does touch on so many wonderful areas that
Thank you, Karen.
yeah,
Please spread the word.
we
Talk to your
will.
friends. Get on Facebook, and the more people that can see this film, we made this film for the community it speaks for and to. That's why we made this film, so other people can experience what it's like to be in these communities, and that's the bottom line. That's what we've done. So please spread the word.
We will, Ian. Thank you
All right.
very much for your time today.
My pleasure. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.